Hi guys, I thought I'd do a video. I haven't done one for a couple of weeks. I've been mega busy. There's been quite a lot that's gone on and happened in the last week. I had a bit of an issue with the yard that I was at with Spirit. It's a bit of a long story. Basically I wasn't very well. I had a bit of a stomach bug and my husband said that he would go down in the evening for me to save me doing it because I was feeling quite sick and had a bug and everything. And then I got a phone call from him saying, by the way, I can't find Spirit. He's not in the bullpen where he normally is. And I was like, what do you mean he's not in the bullpen? And he said, there's another horse in there. And I was like, describe the horse. So he did. And I said, oh, well, that's the farmer's horse. And I said, well, where's Spirit gone then? Because he should be in there. He was in there in the morning. I couldn't understand where he'd gone. Anyway, he found Spirit round the back in the cowshed. It was a dirty cowshed and it was full of hay, which he shouldn't have been eating because he's supposed to be unsoaked because the farmer only had ryegrass hay, which is not good for him. It's too full of sugar. And so, of course, I was like, panic. Oh, my God, what's he doing down there? And because the cowshed was dirty, I couldn't expect my husband to do that. So I went herring down there to find him in the cowshed. So I helped my husband sort the cowshed out. We took all the hay out that was in there that you shouldn't be eating, put a soaked hay net in there. Obviously couldn't understand what was going on. Spoke to the farmer. He said that his grandson had put him in there. I was absolutely stomping mad. I was proper mad because, Spirit's got laminitis, and at the time he'd had a little bit of problem with some pus coming out of his coronet band, and basically he was under vet's orders to not be moved or do anything of excess exercise. And to get him around the cowshed meant that he would have been on uneven ground, which obviously isn't good for him at the time. And to put him into a dirty shed with hay he mustn't eat. And also, what I also discovered was the trough in there was literally full of sewage. It was disgusting. So he had no water for however long he'd been in there. So I was very upset and very angry because, in my mind, he shouldn't have moved my horse because he's my property. If he had an issue with him being in the bullpen, then he should have spoke to me about it first. And then, I could have discussed with him and explained that he, shouldn't be moved quite yet. He's not ready to be moved. And that obviously at a later date we could possibly put him in there. But obviously with preparation and forethought and all those things, but I wasn't even given that opportunity. He was just shoved in there. And this was on the Friday evening or something, and I was down there for 3 hours trying to sort it all out. And also on top of that, when I went to check on the farmer's horse in the bullpen, he'd left her with no hay either. So I had to sort her out and give her hay and everything. So you can imagine I was not a very happy bunny. And also, unfortunately, I ended up having a massive row with a family member because I felt that they weren't being very supportive. I'd rang them up and tried to discuss it with them, got very upset on the phone. I got very distressed. I was almost, hey Bailey, sorry. I was almost, I would say, hysterically upset because I was so concerned that Spirit could have issues as a result of being moved. And the reaction I got wasn't something I was expecting. So I did get very upset. And then I explained to them that I was venting because I was frustrated and distressed and upset. I wasn't actually having a go at them. It was more because I was venting and upset that I was talking to them because they are mutual. They know this person mutually, we're on the same livery and all those kinds of things, and I just ended up getting quite upset about the whole thing and very angry, understandably, because it could have been detrimental to his recovery, quite severely so. And then having to spend 3 hours sorting it out. We didn't get home until 9 o'clock. I hadn't had anything to eat. It was an absolute nightmare. And then as a consequence of that, I refused to clean out Spirit's bed because I felt that the grandson had moved him, so he is responsible for cleaning it out, especially as I'd had to spend 3 hours sorting the cowshed out. The one thing that is clear is that, I am still recovering from my major surgery in January. I have ME and I have fibromyalgia. I didn't think it was fair that I should have to clean out Spirit Stable as well as spending 3 hours sorting out the cowshed. That it was the grandson's decision to move my horse against my wishes, so therefore he should clean it out. Unfortunately, what happened is that my family member ended up cleaning it out, and then unfortunately I was getting a lot of stick for it, basically, because I refused to do it. And I just said, well, tough really, because at the end of the day, he moved the animals, he should have done it, and if anybody should be whinged at, it should be that person, not me, the grandson. I mean, not me, because I didn't make that decision. I was quite happy to clean out Spirit Stable when I left at the end of the month anyway, because obviously we were moving to this lovely new yard that was more suited for his recovery. But when this happened, obviously I was like, no, I'm not doing it, especially because I spent so long sorting out this cowshed which he was in. So Monday comes, and obviously my family member and I are a bit pissed off with each other, and I'm a bit pissed off about the whole situation about my horse, obviously. In the morning, I went there to sort him out. I didn't see anybody because I'm always there very early anyway. So I mucked him out, sorted him out, went home. And then in the evening, I went back to do the second muck out of the day. And when I got there, I went straight on to the main yard. I don't know what made me do it, but in the morning I did take some of my stuff home because I was just thought, well, I was getting a bit annoyed, to be honest, about the whole process, and I was thinking of moving him quicker if I could. So I was trying to arrange it to see if I could move him quicker. And I took some of his stuff home in the morning. So in the afternoon I went there to discover that all my hay nets had been thrown across the yard, and the bucket is like a big barrel that I'd spent ages cleaning out to put his hay in to soak, had been filled with water in the middle of and it had been left in the middle of the yard, so it made it really difficult to empty the water out to reuse it. So then I spent ages emptying it out, putting it back, and I couldn't understand why my hay nets were all over the yard. And then when I went into the little shed, because there's like this little shed, and I was bringing around bales of hay and straw, which I was actually paying for, to discover that the straw had all been smashed to pieces all over the floor. It was only about half a bale that I'd left in there, but it was smashed all over the floor. So I went into the farmhouse and said, what's going on? Why is my stuff all across the yard? And basically just ended up getting a load of abuse from the grandson, who then threatened Spirit, saying I was lucky that Spirit wasn't at the end of the drive. And I was just like, why are you being such a knob, basically? And I ended up swearing at him quite a lot because he made me very angry because he shouldn't have touched my horse. I was very angry about that anyway. I told him exactly how I felt in no uncertain terms, and he was not a very nice child, basically, because he's only 18, and not very nice child. And the farmer is so completely frigging out of it because unfortunately he's a bit of an alcoholic. He just was not getting involved at all and was leaving this kid to rule the roost, basically. And I lost my temper and I said a few choice things to this child, and then when I went round, I left it at that. I thought, I don't want to get really irate, because I was getting really worked up, and I just went round to see Spirit. And then I realised that this child, this petty little childless kid, had thrown straw bales at Spirit Stable, well, I say stable, cowshed, and also a yellow bucket had been thrown into him as well. So Lord only knows what this kid was doing, but quite clearly he's throwing things over the gate at Spirit, or if not at Spirit, at least into the stable to create fear for my horse. And then I realised that my hoof disinfectant and hoof pick were missing, which I'd left by the gate because it was easier for me because I was clean his feet out, wash his feet, etc. And that all my mucking out stuff was lying on the floor, which I picked it up all up, and I just like, where's my hoof stuff? And I went back and spoke to the farmer and said, look, some of my stuff is missing. Where is it? What's going on? And he just has no clue whatsoever is going on with this kid. Absolutely no. Don't have a go at me. He's going, it's nothing to do with me. Like, even though he owns the farm and it's nothing to do with me, blah, blah, blah. And this kid was just being an absolute twat, basically. And then I rang my new yard lady, explained what was going on, that I felt that Spirit was in danger because I had no way of stopping this kid from just letting him out onto the yard, because I just wouldn't, at this point, I wouldn't put it past him to do anything, because, you know, he's throwing stuff at my horse, he's throwing my stuff away, which doesn't belong to him, he's smashing things that I've paid for. You know, his grandfather actually owes me quite a lot of money because I'd prepaid for all my winter hay at this point. And so, you know, I was kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to do kind of thing. She said, look, if you can bring him tonight, bring him. And then my phone ran out of charge, and then literally I had to race home because I had the dogs with me in the car, race home, plug my phone in, try and get hold of my husband, who is this at this point, because obviously I rang him very upset, saying my stuff's been thrown all over the place, people have thrown my stuff away, smashed up the straw, you know, I'm worried about Spirit, that he might let him out, you know, even though I've got like a thing around the gate. I was just so worried that he might do something to him because of the way he was acting and saying he was going to dump him at the end of the drive and blah blah blah. So I rang a very good friend of mine who had previously offered to move him and said, look, I've got this awful situation going on. I really don't trust leaving Spirit there. I don't know what to do. I was in absolute bits. I was really distressed and distraught at this point. And my friend, bless her cotton socks, she came and with her lorry to pick up Spirit, to take him to the new yard, and new yard owner was amazing. She met us. It was, you know, it took us a while to get Spirit onto the lorry for a start. But once we got everything was packed. I had everything in, you know, whilst we were waiting for the lorry, we packed everything in the van and everything. And just literally in the time it took for me to go home, charge my phone up enough to go back and arrange the lorry, etc. This real child had blocked the gate with the tractor load haul thing and had been round to my horse again because the next door gate was wide open and all my stuff was strewn across the floor again. So obviously there was a reason for me to be worried about him, and put a padlock on the tap room door, locking the rest of my stuff in. It was just my feed and everything. My husband had to go to the farmer and basically said, you better give us the key right now. And basically he really put his foot down and, you know, you will do it right now kind of thing. And we had got it unlocked and waited for the lorry to come, and then we loaded Spirit and off we went to the new yard with all my stuff. I mean, he owes me money, but what can you do? I mean, I could take him to small claims court, I suppose, but it's going to cost me more money than what he owes me. So I decided just to cut my losses and just go kind of thing. But unfortunately, my family member has decided that she would just carry on trying to have a go at me about the whole having to clean the stable thing. Got very angry and just said, look, I'm not talking about this anymore. And I said I needed some space, and they carried on going on about the bloody stable, which in my mind has nothing to do with me. It's all to do with the grandson. If she's got a problem, then she needs to talk to him. As far as I'm concerned, I got really pissy and irate, and I just was like, whatever, I'm not doing it anymore, not talking about it anymore, I've had enough kind of thing. Then I found out that she's been telling people about it and not actually telling them the whole story, which, you know, why am I surprised really? at the end of the day, you know, there's a reason why the stable didn't get cleaned out, and as I've explained, it should have been down to the grandson, not me, to clean it out, and I'm not going to take blame for it. And unfortunately, I was hoping to get emotional support, and that wasn't felt forthcoming, so whatever, eh? But anyway, the positive of this story is that Spirit is now at his new yard, which is a lot more set up for him and his laminitis. He's currently spending time in a little woodland, which is all fenced off, lovely little woodland, vet approved. Because she was saying if he's sound off the boot, he can go in the woodland. So he's been going in the woodland every day with ground nets, with hay, with organic meadow hay in it. It's a natural livery. She's got a track system, round pen, arena, so I'm all ready to go once he's ready to go. He's so chilled out. He's made friends. When he is in, he's got like a little yard area and a stable, and the other horses can interact with him, and he can interact with them. He can see them through his stable. He's got like a little doorway that he can see everybody, and they can see him, and he can mutual groom over things. So he's so chilled out, you know, considering he was kind of moved in the middle of the night in an emergency kind of situation. He's doing really, really well. And I'm loving it because it's only 10 minutes from home instead of sort of, because it can sometimes take me 25 minutes to get to the other place. And it's only 10 minutes from here, so I'm closer. There's great hacking when he's ready, all off-road, gorgeous hacking, loads of bridle way, so I'm quite looking forward to that. But yeah, we've had quite a traumatic week. And then at the weekend, my poor little Springer Spaniel, Phoebe GB, ended up being rushed in for emergency surgery. She had pyometra, open pyometra. It's where the wound becomes filled with pus, and she was very, very poorly, bless her, and she had emergency surgery and had some really great friends that helped me fund the operation, which I'm going to pay them back, but they helped fund the operation, and my mum's helped out, and it was just a bit of a nightmare basically for the whole week, really, with one thing with Spirit and then with Phoebe, and then having falling out with my family member, and then having this whole thing, you know, thinking that, you know, the farmer was, you know, I've known the farmer for 8 years, so it's not a case of like knowing him for 2 minutes. Do you know what I mean? I can't believe that it ended like that. I don't know why the grandson got it into his head to turf Spirit out of the bullpen. I don't know why he turned so nasty, because, you know, Spirit hadn't done anything to him, and, you know, he shouldn't, you know, I did say to him, you know, I pay livery, I do have rights. You can't just turf my horse out without any talking to me, and you shouldn't even be touching my horse in the first place. You know, I own him. You don't have a right to touch him. And he had other ideas, and then obviously when it went all downhill from there on in, and I felt Spirit was in danger, so I had to move him, unfortunately, and this has caused quite a bit of a rift between me, friends and family members. So it's just one of those things, unfortunately, going on. Just don't know whether time will change things. I don't know, because at the moment I'm still quite angry and pissed off about the whole thing, but you know, at least we're in a really good place now. That's the main thing. Love it there. It's beautiful. You know, sat in the woodland, you can see little squirrels running along in the trees, and then at night when I was there, I could see an owl flying from one branch to the other. I mean, he's coming in at night. He's only going out in the woodland during the day. But he's doing really well. He's showing, gets a little bit tender, but occasionally, but he's actually walking out, and he trotted up to see some horses coming along the road, and even in just the week that he's been there, I've noticed a massive difference in him. He's definitely improved hugely, and even the vet is very pleased about it. He's due to have his review with the farrier soon, so that's great. Yeah, so I'm doing okay. Started my new job last week. I've gone self-employed, which is quite scary but exciting at the same time. And I had a really nice time of it last week. So I'm doing a day tomorrow as well. But it does mean that I can spend a bit more time with Spirit as well. So that's great. More time with the animals and more time to do housework. Woohoo! Anyway, I just thought I'd catch you up on what's happening. I'm sure I've left things out, but everything's all over the place at the moment. So anyway, I hope you're all okay, and I'll try and keep up with my vlogging, and I'll see you soon. Bye.